Thanks, Rich, and thanks everyone for sticking around this Friday morning. I'm Anthony Goss. We begin this morning with major news coming down from the Atlantic 10 Conference last night.
Wrestles it away.
The league announced yet another adjustment to both the men's and women's championship tournaments last night. The men's tournament has been moved up a week, and the majority of the games are now to be played March 3rd and 6th through 6th, eliminating the final 2 open dates on St. Bonaventure's schedule. That leaves just 3 games remaining on the docket for the Bonnies, who are now set to close out the regular season with Dayton on February 28th. The championship title will still be played on March 14th, but still has been moved from the Robins Center in the University of Richmond to the UD Arena at Dayton. The women's tournament has been moved back 1 week and will be played March 10th to the 14th, with all games still set to be played in Richmond. The league says tipping the men's championship to March 3rd provides an additional play date and flexibility for the league to adjust to any unforeseen COVID-19 interruption.
How about that tuck just then?
Clearly, fluidity is a word we've thrown around a lot during talking about sports during a pandemic. Constancy, not so much. But that is exactly what junior guard Jalen Attaway has provided for the St. Bonaventure men's basketball team this year. Let's throw it over now to Grace Foley, who's live at the Riley Center. She has more on the reigning A10 Player of the Week.
Thanks, Anthony. And you hit it just a moment ago. Constancy is a great word to describe a player who leads the league in field goal percentage. I met with Attaway this week for our first player profile, and he has some lofty goals for what's already been a career season.
I have Jalen Attaway here with me. He is a current redshirt junior here at Bonaventure, and he is also the reigning A10 Player of the Week. Thank you, Jalen, for taking some time and here to talk to us.
Thank you for having me.
You obviously played your first 2 years at Miami of Ohio. And once you decided to transfer, one of the big factors that led you to Bonaventure was Trey Woodall. Can you kind of touch upon the transferring process and tell us what led you to Bonaventure?
I was really just, in search of like a basketball school. Trey ended up getting the job here. He was like, yeah, let me talk to Schmidt. And, from there, the rest is pretty much history.
Obviously had to sit out the 2019-2020 season. Can you go in depth about your experience and how difficult it was to watch your teammates from the sidelines?
I just try to make the most of it and change my perspective on what that year is really for. And, I really spent that year just analyzing the game, from the sidelines.
You were named co-A10 Player of the Week due to your performances against LaSalle and VCU. What does that honor mean to you?
I know how much time and effort and all the sacrifices I've made. Not only does it show that, all the work I'm putting in is paying off, it's also showing that I'm being efficient and helping my team out.
As of right now, you and your team currently have 5 games left of the season, excluding the A10 tournament and the NCAA tournament. What are your goals and expectations for the rest of the season?
All we're thinking is just win, beat Davidson, and take care of business there. And, then we'll focus on the next one.
Thank you so much, Jalen, for taking the time out of your day. I can't imagine how busy your schedule is, and we wish you the best of luck, not only on Sunday, but for the rest of the season.
Thank you so much. It's an honor being here.
Attaway and the Bonnies are currently in 4th place in A10 standings, and they look to move up in the ranks in a crucial game here against Davidson on Sunday. From the Riley Center, I'm Grace Foley with SBU-TV Sports. Back to you, Anthony.
Well, if you take a look outside your window this morning, it's hard to believe that spring sports season is already upon us, but considering everything the athletics teams here at St. Bonaventure have been through, a few inches of snow and chilly temperatures aren't going to stop head coach Jason Levesque and his women's lacrosse team from opening up their regular season today. And it's not as if the Bonnies are heading down south. Hamilton, New York will be the site of their season opener as they take the field tonight against the Colgate Raiders. It's been 345 days since this team has last played a game. The COVID-19 pandemic put an end to what was the best start to a season for the Brown and White since 2006. But the Bonnies are primed for success again. They returned 12 of their 14 starters who scored even a single point last year, including redshirt senior Destiny Johnson, who netted 20 goals in 7 games for the Bonnies. With that success, of course, comes heightened expectations for this year's team, not just within the program, but across the A10.
We still have a long way to go, and yeah, we had a great start, and we can be happy about it, but we can't be satisfied with it after last season. We certainly don't have a target on our backs by any means, but we're not that team that teams are going to overlook quite as much as they maybe did in years past.
The opening face-off is set for 2 o'clock. The Raiders were 3-4 last year before the remainder of their season was canceled. College lacrosse is back, and so too is Major League Baseball. Well, almost. Pitchers and catchers reported to spring training Wednesday, and position players report Monday. Spring training games begin February 28th, and all 30 teams plan to sell tickets at their Arizona and Florida venues, according to ESPN. Up to 25% capacity could be allowed in these stadiums. Stark contrast to last year, where no fans were allowed to spring training games once the COVID-19 pandemic hit. The MLB regular season begins April 1st.
Bradley recovers.
We finish, of course, with SBU-TV sports trivia. Prior to last Sunday's loss at George Washington, the women's basketball team found themselves on a bit of a hot streak. They won 3 straight games, matching the longest win streak in the Jesse Fleming era. 5 times Fleming's Bonnies have reached 3 straight victories since his arrival in 2016, which leads us to this week's question. Which team has St. Bonaventure beat the most during their 5 3-game win streaks under Coach Fleming? A tough question that needed 3 days before we finally got a correct response, and that response came from John Groth, a sophomore at SBU from Aurora, New York. The Davidson Wildcats have contributed 3 of those 15 wins, the most of any opponent. Thank you to all who participated, and be sure to follow us on all of our social media so you don't miss next week's question, which will be posted on Tuesday. That's all we have for sports. Back to you, Rich.